This is the Resilient Advisor Show with Jay Coulter.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Resilient Advisor. This is part of the Blockchain Monthly Series with my friend Dan Weiskopf, who is the co-portfolio manager of the Amplify Transformational Data Sharing ETF, symbol BLOK, and host of the Blockchain Interviews. Dan, thanks for coming back on.
Thanks for having me.
All right. So in these monthly updates, we get the opportunity to talk about things that are going on in the marketplace today, things advisors need to be thinking about if they're allocating to this space in their portfolios. We're recording this at the end of January 2022, and we've experienced some volatility. Dan, what is your take on the volatility we've seen in the Bitcoin space?
In Bitcoin specifically, which reflects obviously the price action, it's been very painful. There's no question about it. And I think, we're looking at a period of time where it's got to find a level, right? And it's going to be someplace between 30 to 40,000, we believe. And, price discovery is tough, as we all know.
In your blockchain update in December, you talked about it being the calm before the storm. It's now, you weren't predicting that this was going to happen, but there clearly must have been some signals in the marketplace that told you we might be experiencing this type of volatility again. What did you see?
First of all, just remember, I take pains when our performance is up 20% or down 20%. So, at some point, that things are going to get real rocky. I think there was some telegraphing that from a tax standpoint, you might have some need for some of the bigger players to realize some gains in 2022, right, to cover their liabilities. And that contributed to my concerns.
When you think about volatility, and I'm going to stay on Bitcoin specifically, and we're looking at it between 30 and 40,000. Gosh, Dan, if we were doing this series 2 years ago, we're talking about 5 and 10,000, 5 and 12,000. So the goalposts really have moved. And now we're talking about volatility at the space. As you look at that today, how do you see that changing in investor psychology and as an allocator to companies that support the blockchain as you look out into 2022?
Well, utility value is continuing, right? In general. I think that like $30 billion of venture capital money went into the development of companies in the space. The price action reflects market concerns, but it doesn't mean that the evolution isn't accelerating. And, growth isn't necessarily linear.
So, Dan, the miners have been really, really beat up. So when you look at investments in miners, what are the break-evens for these companies?
It depends on company, obviously, but we like to think about it in the context of 8 to 10,000 for most of the larger players. And just to highlight a very specific stat from 2022, the staggering number of revenues from the Bitcoin and Ethereum miners was $30 billion, over 30 billion, is actually closer to 31. And in fact, Ethereum was 16 billion and Bitcoin was about 15 billion.
Yeah, it's a lot of revenue for sure.
Well, to put that into context, ETF revenues are like 11, 12 billion. This is a new industry.
Yep, that's right. All right, in your most recent blockchain update, which you can download by visiting blocketf.com. That's BLOKETF.com. And there, you and your team laid out the case for several industries where you see disruption happening this year because of the blockchain. Let's walk through them. The first one is financial services. What are you thinking?
Well, we know what's happening in the mortgage industry. And that benefit is being seen in terms of cost as well as speed to get a mortgage, particularly a HELOC, right? In the case of the insurance industry, it may not be this year, but the insurance companies are embracing the benefits of KYC, et cetera, right, on the blockchain. In the case of retail, it may be shocking to many, but Walmart is all over the blockchain, right? Now, we don't own Walmart because the decision is bigger than just whether or not a company is investing in blockchain, but they're saving money in terms of supply chain. They're saving money in terms of invoicing. And who knows with Walmart on a lot of levels.
All right. So retail was one of the other sectors that you mentioned in your report. And is Walmart your example of retailers taking advantage of the blockchain this year?
It's one example.
Yeah. Yeah. What are your other thoughts around retail leveraging the platform?
I think Walmart as an example is perfect in that they are taking advantage of the supply chain benefits, right? If you can track a good from start to delivery, every step, you have greater confidence, right? And I think that's important from a retail perspective.
So how is healthcare going to be disrupted this year?
In the case of healthcare, what we're seeing is record keeping, companies really investing in record keeping, and that will change the industry in 5 years. I think a lot of folks need to think through on the blockchain and crypto in terms of multiple years, not just immediate.
How about advertising?
Advertising is all about the metaverse, okay, and how different. We're talking about retail. We're talking about fashion as well. We're seeing Nike as an example, advertising on the metaverse.
All right, Dan. So as we're wrapping up, tell us, what are you seeing in the block portfolio today?
We're looking really hard at the miners, obviously, given how beat up they've been, and then of course on the platform side, there's major evolutions that are taking place. So I think we've added about 20 new names in the last month to our universe, which is now about 240 companies. And a lot of research is involved here, speaking to managements, et cetera.
Learn more about the Block ETF by visiting bloketf.com. That's bloketf.com. And if you'd like a deep dive on the blockchain, make sure you check out Dan's The Blockchain Interview series by visiting theblockchaininterviews.com. That is theblockchaininterviews.com. Dan, thanks for coming back on.
Thanks, Jay. Enjoyed it.